Hey everyone, Ivy Gaming here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, we're going to continue covering the new heroes that are arriving in Season 1. Let's take a look at the Lightning heroes. Alright, so some people are already playing if you're Season 0 and you wanted to start early, but hey, we're not done with this series yet, so don't worry, I'm not going to stop halfway through. We still got the Lightning heroes and the Radiant heroes, so let's get right into our heroes. Oops, I have an epic on the screen. Let me switch to change to the rares first. Oh, before we get into the rares, we actually have a common. I didn't put him up on the screen, but I'll scroll down to him. We have a Dauntless common hero. Passive gains attack speed up status for 10 seconds as the battle starts. Battle skill launches a total of 2 attacks on the enemy, each dealing lightning damage. This skill is considered to be a basic attack, and ultimate deals lightning damage to enemies around the hero. So super simple, nothing crazy. Oh, I can't really see that. But yeah, just wanted to mention we do have a common hero added. I'd say for the most part, you're not going to use any of the common heroes except for one. The one Radiant Healer common has one of the best, I guess, multipliers, you could say, for healing allies in the game. And she's surprisingly useful even in endgame content. You're gonna see that common Radiant Healer. But I can't imagine using a common damage dealer because their base stats are just gonna be so much lower, especially when there's so many great rares and epics even, let alone legendaries. So I would probably say this guy is not gonna get much use. Alright, so let's start off with Garana, Apprentice Mechanic. Super cute, love her look, beautiful graphics. So this rare support unit is ranged. Her passive, every 3 basic attacks dispels 1 buff on the target. Sounds really good, alright. Battle skill deals lightning damage to enemies within range with a 75% chance of inflicting accuracy penalty 1 for 5 seconds. An ultimate grants a shield to all allies within range for 10 seconds. Aura increases all allies' defense by 24% in dungeon battles. She's solid. Sounds like a great hero for PvE content, especially being a rare. I thought I saw a comment. Yeah, down here, yes. Perfect point here, which is cut off a little. But buff dispel sounds like a top rare for lightning, as someone says here. And then just below it, she'd be great for Ancient Battlefield. And I have to agree, that sounds really perfect for Ancient Battlefield. So she might be a top pick for people looking for those budget options for a bit of survivability, a great aura, and then dispelling buffs from the enemy can be huge. So sounds great to me, a really good start for our lightning heroes. Alright, next up for the rares we have Salion, Blue Shield. She's a defensive unit, melee ranged, of course. Alright, passive. The hero gains a shield for 5 seconds. When their HP drops below 25% for the first time, gains defense up 1 and damage reduction for 10 seconds. Has a battle skill, has a 100% chance of dispelling 1 debuff from the hero. Upon successful dispelling, the hero gains a shield. Ultimate, lightning damage to enemies within range with a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 1 for 10 seconds. Aura increases all allies' HP by 24% in dungeon battles. Definitely sounds like a decent tank option for the lightning element. Not maybe top tier, I would say, like with the attack penalty 1 instead of 2. And the HP aura I like to see a little bit bigger because, well, I guess it's fine. What am I saying? It's fine. HP, there's a lot. But it is in dungeon battles, and you can definitely use this in a lot of content, but apparently, but unfortunately, I mean to say, dispelling 1 debuff from her only, not from other allies, so a little less helpful for the whole team, but she could definitely be the one trying to soak up the damage probably. but not much of a team player. Next up, we have the rare Hog, Mountain Keeper. And guys, by the way, when it comes to the names, we always use the little name, the like real sounding name, not the bigger name that shows up first sometimes, or bigger, I should say, just the bigger name. But they like to use them first in some of their descriptions and stuff, but a lot of characters share the same title, so it's just really confusing. Just a little note. All right, we have a Dauntless rare ranged unit. Gains attack speed up attack speed up 2 for 15 seconds whenever an enemy dies. Battle skill throws 2 javelins at the enemy, each dealing lightning damage to them. This skill is considered a basic attack. Ultimate gains 25% attack up in it for 10 seconds, then launches a lightning spear to the enemy, dealing lightning damage, ignoring 40% of the target's defense. Wow. And increases all allies' attack speed by 24% in dungeon battles. Wow. That's a big ignore defense. If this guy has decent stats, sounds like he could smack, especially for a rare. 40% ignore defense? Alright, I'll take it. Dauntless is a really fun group of characters. Pretty much single target focused on basic attacks, so a lot of times their ultimates or their battle skills will also count as basic attacks, and the Dauntless like synergy is kind of a lot about attack speed, and yeah, all involving when you do a basic attack. So it's kind of a quirky, interesting, just kind of like a, I don't even know, like almost like a berserker type, like just go, 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 single target smash kind of synergy. It's a fun group of characters, and there's definitely some that can really smack. I'm very curious to see how hard this rare can actually hit. Alright, now we have adorable Grover here. He's super cute. Witty Trickster. I love that they introduced a variety of characters and even children. Why not? Why not? Kids would have to fight or help out in battle in some way at some point, right? Witty Trickster. Alright, so this is a melee support unit. His passive gains invisibility for 10 seconds if the hero's current HP falls below 35% when attacked. Okay. Gains invisibility, that could be huge for survivability, of course. It only takes effect once every 5 seconds. Battle skill strikes an enemy 2 times, dealing lightning damage each time, with a 15% chance of stealing 10% ultimate energy. Alright. Ultimate flashes to the enemy and launches 2 attacks, dealing lightning damage to each and stealing a random buff from them each time. I like the stealing aspect, this is fun. An aura increases all allies' accuracy by 30 in all battles. Alright, so stealing a buff and stealing ultimate energy. He definitely sounds clever. I'm not sure where I would use him, but so many options, and all of the characters sound viable. There's very few that I'm just like, meh, no thanks, bye. Like, everyone sounds like they've done a pretty good job making them usable. Alright, now we have Fizzle, Wandering Fuse. I love the goblins in this game, they look so cool. Alright, range support unit. Reduces damage taken by 40% when reduces damage taken by 40% when taking damage that exceeds 35% of max HP. Battle skill deals lightning damage to the enemy with a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 1 status for 5 seconds. Ultimate casts a chain lightning that bounces between enemies, inflicting lightning damage with a 75% chance of dispelling 1 buff from them each time it hits. Chain lightning can bounce up to 3 times. Alright, so a little bit of utility here with a dispelling of a buff. And then attack penalty 1. It would be nice if it books up to give you attack penalty 2 instead, but we don't know. I would assume not, maybe. Okay, and there's a lot of these lightning heroes that seem to dispel buffs. It's an interesting trend for this, for this element, I should say, this element. I didn't really notice if that was the case before, because when I think of dispelling buffs from the enemy, buff strippers, I think of Boresh, who's ice, but maybe this will be one of the strongest elements for dealing with enemies with buffs that you can remove. They've really added a lot of rares to the lightning element here because we're still on rares. This is Dora, Tribal Artisan. Alright, so a support ranged unit. Passive: for each debuff on the enemy, the hero gains 10% of extra accuracy. Battle skill: when dealing damage to the enemy with a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 1 status for 5 seconds. And ultimate grants accuracy bonus 2 to allies within range. I mean, for someone who's all about getting extra accuracy, just of inflicting a measly attack penalty 1, and that's it. I feel like there needs to be something else in this kit that gives it a little more excitement. I mean, accuracy bonus 2 to all allies, maybe that'll really come in handy in certain spots. This might be a niche use hero, but I can't see making this person a key element in a team. This might be my first real meh of the day. Alright, and still another rare. We have a Dauntless ranged rare, Altair Aerial Watch. I think they mean Aerial Watcher, but there's a typo. Alright, passive: when dealing damage to enemies with HP below 50%, the hero gains attack speed up 2 for 5 seconds. I'm wondering if some of these are typos and they're actually epics. Like, a couple of these kind of sound like they're meant to be epics, but maybe not, maybe not. Alright, battle skill: for 8 seconds after being cast, each basic attack inflicts an extra lightning damage. An ultimate shoots 3 crossbow bolts to the enemy, each dealing lightning damage. Every 1% extra attack speed gained by the hero grants 1% damage bonus to the skill. An aura increases all allies' attack speed by 24% in dungeon battles. Solid for a Dauntless hero, but looks like mostly helping himself, not really helping all allies except for the aura. So, not the best Dauntless option, I don't think. I love how I was just saying, like, everyone seems pretty good, and then I get a couple meh-sounding ones right in a row. That's how life works. But alright, we're on to Nathaniel, Night Watchman. We're on to epics now. Woohoo! Alright, support ranged unit. The passive: when a buff wears off or is dispelled from any target on the field, the ally with the lowest HP is healed. That could happen often depending on the battle. Alright, battle skill: dispels 1 debuff from allies within range and grants them with 1 stack of recovery over time. So we've got a cleanse and a heal. I like it. Ultimate: deals lightning damage to enemies within range and grants a shield and defense up 1 to allies for 10 seconds. For each enemy hit by the skill, the shield is increased by 10%. And even we got an aura here of increases all allies' HP by 24% in all battles. He absolutely sounds like a top tier option for survivability and support with the lightning synergy here. Like, this sounds really good. Like, maybe even for something like Vortex where you're using a lightning dauntless team as your core team, he could be the guy to help you survive longer and dispel those annoying decreased defense debuffs. So really good. He's one I put pretty high on my tier list for the Horn. Sounds like a top tier hero. Alright, now we have Thurnus, the Thunderous. So his weapon is bigger than he is, so I wanted to show that a little bit better here. Dauntless Epic Melee Unit. The hero grants an extra 20% attack speed for every Dauntless ally in the team. There we go. Bonuses based on synergy. That's what we want to see. Alright, battle skill: deals lightning damage to enemies within range. The hero grants 15% attack up for 10 seconds when they hit 3 or more targets with this skill. And then our ultimate jumps up and strikes an enemy, dealing lightning damage. For the next 10 seconds, when an ally launches a basic attack against this enemy, the hero has a 50% chance of dealing derived lightning damage onto them. Alright, so first of all, I'd love to know how this little dwarf is going to jump up with that massive axe and strike down at an enemy, but sure, we'll go with that. But derived damage, as I've mentioned, is that damage that kind of scales with enlightenment. So that's a little bit different. I like it, finally bringing in some more enlightenment. And just like I mentioned earlier, how some things, they count as basic attacks because that's a lot to do with the synergy of Dauntless. This is a good example. When an ally launches a basic attack, so some of those skills by other Dauntless heroes, both battle skills and ultimate, count as basic attacks. So that allows that kind of those triggers to happen more often, the synergy to be stronger. So I really like that they kind of do that. They do such a good job with their cleverness of how you build a team. Love it. All right, Aura increases all allies' attack by 30% in dungeon battles. Solid, big ol' fat attack boost, and does sound like a really great hero for a Dauntless team. Seems pretty solid to me to improve everybody, speeding them up, and then also dealing pretty solid damage himself. Sounds like he has good damage potential. Hopefully he'll be a top damage dealer. Alright, this guy has like this apparatus that makes it look like he'd be flying. Really interesting. Nimbus Storm Falcon. A Dauntless ranged unit. Epic as well. Passive skill, the hero gains attack speed up 2 for 10 seconds when they obtain a buff. Battle skill, deals lightning damage to the enemy. Every 1% extra attack speed gained by the hero gains or grants 1% damage bonus to the skill. Oop, I don't need to scroll that down. Ultimate. Locks onto an enemy for 2 seconds, during which time launches a missile at them. Every 5 seconds... Oops, sorry. During which time launches a missile at them every 5 seconds. Each dealing lightning damage. The lock-on duration is affected by the hero's attack speed. The skill is considered a basic attack. There it is. Increases all allies' attack by 30% in dungeon battles. Another big dungeon battle aura. There's so much with multipliers here, so it's kind of hard to get a handle on whether or not he'd actually do some good damage. I guess another one that sounds like it has potential to do some big damage and have high attack speed, but hard to tell until we really get playing with them. Alright, we have Naguk, Thunder Cleaver, Epic, Defensive Unit, Melee. So many great tanks have been added. It's nice to see they're adding more. Alright, so passive skill. Static field exists around the hero, dealing lightning damage to surrounding enemies every 1 second. A single target has a 100% chance of being inflicted with stun every 10 times they take damage from the attack field for 3 seconds. Every 10 times they take damage. That sounds like that's going to happen pretty often with something like that, especially with these units kind of being built to be very like attack speed oriented, especially if you're using an aura for attack speed and hit even often. Or does it mean, well, I guess it would mean the static field every time it hits 10 times. Once every 1 second. That's really interesting. That might be a bit overpowered. It'd be pretty consistent stunning. Battle skill grants a shield for 10 seconds and a defense up for 1 second. Sorry, with defense up 1 for 5 seconds. To himself, to all allies, to allies within range, to what? So this skill is lacking information. I don't know if it means to only himself or to allies. They forgot to finish this sentence, so who knows? Ultimate deals lightning damage to all enemies, extending the range of the static field to the entire battlefield for 12 seconds. That sounds like a ton of crowd control with stunning. Absolutely could be a top tier hero where you need crowd control. At the very least, some PvP maybe? Okay, I think I forgot him on my list of the tier list for the horn. It's so hard with all these new characters, like trying to just pick out which ones stick out to you. But I think I should probably add him. He deserves it. This sounds like top tier crowd control option. Ton of stunning. Very interesting. Alright, and now on to another defensive unit, an epic, a tank, melee unit. Happy to see this faction getting some really good tanks. And this guy I definitely put on my tier list. So, passive skill. For each buff the hero has, the hero gains an extra 15 accuracy and 15% defense. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. Alright, battle skill. Deals lightning damage to enemies within range and grants defense up 1 to the hero for 5 seconds. At the same time, a shield is granted to the hero for 10 seconds. Definitely keeping himself alive well. And the ultimate hammers 3 times at the target direction, each dealing lightning damage to enemies within range with a 50% chance of dispelling a buff from them. If enemies don't have any buff after 3 hammer strikes, the skill has a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 1 and accuracy penalty 2 on them for 10 seconds. An aura increases all resistance by 50% in City of Trials battles. So again, we don't see the resistance aura that often. I think I said that in another video. There's not very many resistance auras, so that could certainly come in handy when you just want to resist some debuffs somewhere that's a bit difficult content-wise, but he definitely sounds like he has great survivability. The debuffs are definitely helpful, and dispelling a buff from enemies is very useful. He can certainly keep himself alive, although he's not really helping the team per se as a tank, but still sounds like a solid tank for this faction. And that was a Volthug the Outrunner. I forgot to say his name. Alright, now we have an epic support ranged unit. And just a reminder, guys, in this game, support does not mean they don't do damage. Some of the best support units are the best DPS like you could ask for, like Voresh, for example. Questa is another hero that hits very hard and also is considered a support unit. Just like in Raid Shadow Legends, Seer is a support unit. But it's just because they have something utility like stripping a buff from an enemy that makes them support, but then they also smack really hard. So keep that in mind. Don't be fooled by the word support. It does not mean they're not a damage dealer. Alright, ranged unit here, passive skill. When an ally casts an ultimate skill, the hero grants a shield to this ally by 50 grants a shield to this ally for 5 seconds. Alright. When an ally casts an ultimate. So pop it every time someone pops an ultimate, they're going to be getting shields every time. Definitely helps for survivability, especially if you time that well. Alright, battle skill deals lightning damage to the enemy and removes all of their shields with a 75% chance of dispelling 1 buff from them. So in this game, shields and buffs are considered 2 different things. So if you want to remove a shield from an enemy, like their Grave of Curse, for example, you need someone that removes shields. And there's not many people that do that. So glad to see they've added a couple others in this batch of new heroes overall. And dispelling a buff in general, great. So really good support. Really good support. Alright, ultimate grants defense up 2 to allies within range for 10 seconds and heals all allies with HP below 50%. Heal and defense up, solid. Alright. Aura increases all allies' defense by 24% in all battles. All battles auras are what we want to see, hell yeah. So this unit doesn't sound like they are a damage dealer per se, but you never know. Sometimes these support units surprise us with their multipliers. But sounds like amazing support. Definitely PvE content. And I can certainly see anti-shield in Arena, although it's a single target to the enemy with a battle skill, so probably not the best Arena option, but definitely a top tier PvE option. For sure, love it. Love this kit. Absolutely. All right, we have Shook, our last epic of the list. A support ranged unit. Passive, the hero gains 10% ultimate energy when an enemy gains a buff. This skill only takes effect once per period. Once during a period. I really still hate this. Please, developers, if you're listening, change this phrase. What does a period mean? Does it mean the whole battle? Does it mean a wave? Does it mean for 10 seconds? Like, what is the period of time? I don't understand this up during a period description. What does that mean? Is it the whole battle? Like, I don't know because you don't say. They've had this on other people too, and it drives me crazy. I think I've even heard Dan Heilman comment about, oh, the stupid during a period stuff. So confusing. That's not exactly very specific. All right, anyway, battle skill. Shoots 3 arrows at enemies, each dealing lightning damage with a 75% chance of reducing their ultimate energy by 5%. Okay, I'm starting to feel like this might actually be a arena hero. All right, ultimate dispels all shields from enemies within range. Ooh, and has a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 2 for 10 seconds. If the hero successfully dispels shields from the enemies, they have a 75% chance of inflicting recharging speed penalty on them for 10 seconds. All right, yeah, definitely sounds like we've got some arena, some PvP potential here. With an aura as well, increases all allies' accuracy by 40% in all battles. Plus, again, dispelling shields and putting attack penalty 2 up. That's huge against bosses that have shields like the Grave of Curse boss. I'm thinking of the right one. Oh gosh, I hope so. Yes. But yeah, really interesting kit. Sounds like it could be viable in PvP and PvE. Pretty solid sounding. All right, on to our legendaries. We have Garrett the Faceless. Dauntless melee unit. Passive skill increases attack when taking damage. The increased volume equals to 10% of the damage taken, up to 200% of the original basic attack. Okay, that's different. Battle skill stabs the enemy ahead 3 times. Each stab consumes 2.5% of the hero's current HP, deals lightning damage to the target. Considered to be a basic attack. Wait, so it takes his own HP? I got excited. I thought they were going to say it's based on the enemy's max HP. But if you're saying the hero, they mean the hero that's casting the skills. So he sacrifices a little bit of his HP as he stabs with his battle skill. But it is considered a basic attack, which hits 3 times. So that definitely helps with the Dauntless synergy. All right. Ultimate consumes 7% of current HP to obtain Brutal Thirst for 10 seconds, dashing to the enemy target and stabbing 5 times, with each stab dealing lightning damage, is considered a basic attack. So the exact description for Brutal Thrust will be in-game. You'll be able to click it and see what it says. It should be anyway. That's usually how it goes. Basic attacks will deal additional lightning damage when under Brutal Thirst. The extra attack speed obtained will increase the additional damage. And with a big ol' aura, we got increases all allies' crit damage by 30% in all battles. Definitely sounds like he is intended to pump out some big damage. And I hope as a legendary, he does not disappoint. Alright, and last but not least, we have Tharival, Silver Moon Sentinel. Legendary Dauntless unit, ranged. Passive skill, dealing direct damage to the same enemy, grants the hero 1 stack of attack speed up for 5 seconds. Stacks are lost when switching targets. Alright, so I would assume he's going to be a boss killer, hopefully. Or at least excel against single targets like a boss, like a big old vortex, or even the dungeon stages once you get to the final boss. Passive skill shoots a powerful arrow at an enemy, dealing lightning damage. This damage ignores immortality. Okay. Ignores immortality. I am sure that's gonna come in handy. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. Ultimate switches to a different shooting stance. The hero's attack increases by 15% for the next 12 seconds, and each basic attack has a 30% chance of triggering a multi-shot, firing 3 arrows that deal lightning damage each. This chance is boosted at a rate equal to 30% of the hero's crit rate. If a multi-shot fails to trigger, the arrow fired will deal lightning damage instead. So yeah, lots of attacks coming, especially if this hero, you can put some big attack speed on them, pairing them with other Dauntless units. Yeah, it sounds like you could pump out a bunch of attacks and be very strong for a Dauntless boss killer team, probably even a Vortex. But all right, that sums up the heroes. Very, very interesting group of heroes. A couple mass sounding rares, but that should be the case. Every rare can't sound like a legendary at the end of the day, but really good group. Maybe even some epics I should have included on my tier list that I didn't include. But yeah, great group of heroes, really good. And it sounds like it's gonna be a fun element to find the right synergy with and have plenty of options to do so. So I like it. Hope you guys do too. We'll have one more. I'll have the Radiant video probably coming out tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then or in the next video.